It's pretty freaking great. Do you think it's pretty great, the idea of owning your own company and working for yourself, working from home potentially, or getting your own office space, hiring yourself a staff, and outsourcing everything? It can be. It certainly can be. These startup stages that I am currently in that I've been sharing with you guys, it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed working from home. I've enjoyed being around my dogs. I've enjoyed not having to wake up and go into an office space and get yelled at by a boss. But at the same time, I want to share with you guys what it has also looked from a stress management side. There is a lot more stress that goes into owning your own company and creating your own income than there is going to work for somebody else. When I first started this, there was no actual guarantee that it was going to be successful. There's still no guarantee. And that can frighten people or it cannot, but there's also no guarantee that you're going to be successful in a job. I don't want to make it seem I am speaking you out of or talking you out of going out and trying something for yourself. Having a job is less guaranteed, especially once the company has grown and become stable. Now, no company is ever stable. You may seem that way because a company is super large or it's been around for a long time. But if a few companies decide to go out of business, things that you can't control, or they just decide to not pay their bills or something and your company goes out of business, these are all things that are outside of the employee's control that are never really thought about until they happen to someone. And those are terrifying prospects. And my thing with when I went out on my own was I just wanted to be in more control. And what I mean by that is the company that I worked for, it laid people off every now and again if they stopped producing in terms of sales. Now, I never stopped producing, which is a good side to me. But they did also up and decide to change accounts around or move what you've landed over to somebody else because they thought that they could manage it better, or these type of things, or they'll demote you, or they started having to change how they paid. The pay structure and the comp structure was changing. And those would be things that are all outside of my control that I could have still been performing, but they could still put into practice because the economy shifted or the marketplace has shifted or X, Y, and Z down the line. Owning your company is very stressful. It's definitely not a cakewalk. If you walk into something and you don't have money set aside and you're not getting paid, all of a sudden you're right back in the job market and you're, why the heck did I leave my job? Having that stable income coming in from a salary is a very nice guarantee. And most people need to know that they are going to be paid. I never know that I am going to be paid or make money the next week or the next month or the next year. It turns out that I do, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm very lucky for that, and I've put in a lot of work for that to happen. But there is a stress that comes every single Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, where it goes, where is my next dollar coming from? And although I have freight on the board, although I have freight scheduled out, and I do have some contract customers, that doesn't mean that they will honor the contracts. And it doesn't mean that things won't change in the marketplace. Where I think that I have built-in margin right now to actually make a few dollars, that could change from today to tomorrow. If you paid any attention to what's going on in the current world, fuel prices have gone through the roof, and now we are paying carriers far more on contracted freight, and it's not always positive. You don't always make money on every single load that you move. And with that, things can be kind of terrifying because the unknowns of the world, especially in geopolitics and larger macroeconomic factors, they change how things happen on a day-to-day, especially in moving freight. And these impacts can be very terrifying. You need to have a strong temperament to go into business for yourself. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to be able to manage stress because it is very stressful, especially if you don't have any customers and you're not actually making any income. But once you get customers, especially in this freight world, things are dynamic. They change every day. It takes one day, it'll take $1,200 to pay a carrier to move 200 miles from upstate New York into Pennsylvania, and the next day it'll take $2,500 to do. Things change on an instant. You need to be able to manage stress, and it can be very, very stressful. And if you don't think that you are going to be able to manage not making a stable income, I would not recommend going into business for yourself. It's not going to be stable. Customers leave. Things happen all the time. From an outside perspective, it always looks great to own your own company, work from home, not have anyone tell you what to do. But on the other side of that coin is all of the stress that you don't see from somebody who works for themselves, works from home. It's all the stress of, I could lose this customer today. It's all the stress of, wow, no one's answering the phone. No one's taking on new vendor partners right now because the world is such in an unknown state that no one wants to make any changes. They're going to stick with what they know, or else they could get burned. And the devil that is better than the devil that you don't. Take all of that into account when you go to make your decision on if you want to actually work for yourself or go to work from home or start your own company or start your own side project. Things will be difficult. There's absolutely going to be challenges along the way, and you just have to be ready to deal with them. It's not that you need to be ready for every objection. You just need to be able to manage the stress that comes with what could happen. And that is a bigger determinant than if you can handle a rejection. It's what you do afterwards. Because if you get a rejection or an objection on the phone and you can handle it, that's great. But it's what happens afterwards. Do you still pick up the phone again? Do you still send the next email? Do you still go and do the next drop in? Do you still knock on the next door? All of these things are more pointing to if you will be successful or not, or if you can handle this or not, than if you just can speak a little bit better than the next guy, or you have a little bit better offering or a little bit better pricing. It is all about how do you handle stress, how do you handle rejection, and move on to the next task without losing enthusiasm and without giving up. Because when you just don't give up, when you don't give yourself that option, you're going to be successful regardless. Because with enough time, all the numbers play out and the math will work in your favor. But it all depends on how you handle the first 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, 72 months,